Hi, listeners. We want to tell you about a podcast we're really digging. It's called Christopher Kimball's Milk Street Radio. Every week, they travel the world to find the most fascinating stories about food, including children who harvest cod tongues after school in Norway and a detective who tracks down food thieves. And on Milk Street Radio, you can always find the unexpected. The comedian who ranks apples using an elaborate 100-point system, the secret history of grocery stores, and how to eat your way through Italy. They also interview the most beloved names in food like Jacques Pepin, Sola Aweli, Jose Andres, Jet Tila, Ina Garten, Nigella Lawson, and Padma Lakshmi. Plus, co-hosts Christopher Kimball and Sarah Moulton do live calls with listeners and answer their questions about ingredients, techniques, and culinary mysteries. Like, why roasting a leg of lamb made one caller's oven explode? Ever wonder why your bread won't rise or your souffle falls flat? Chris and Sarah have the answers. You'll also hear from a rotating cast of contributors, including Kenji Lopez-Alt, Cheryl Day, Dan Pashman from The Sporkful, and Alex Ainuz, a French guy cooking from YouTube. Take a listen at 177milkstreet.com/radio or just search your podcast app for Milk Street Radio. You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Well, hello. Welcome to All in the Industry on Heritage Radio Network. I'm your host and producer, Shari Bayer, and it is Wednesday, May 29th, 2024, and this is our 388th episode of this series, which is dedicated to behind-the-scenes talent in the hospitality industry. Today, I have a special show featuring life lessons with iconic chef Jean-Georges Vongerichten from our event that we did with my new book, Chefwise, at Platform by JBF in New York City that took place in mid-April. And I will share more about this in a moment. First, as I do in every show, I will start with my PR tip, and then later we'll have my interview and close out with my solo dining experience. As the founder of Bayer Public Relations, I'm going to tip the show off with my PR tip of the week. So today's tip is to read books. Yes, that's right. Let's all read. Whether picking up a hard copy or scrolling an online version, books can not only provide entertainment, but they can inspire us and serve as amazing resources. Reading books is of great value that should never be underestimated. And so much work goes into books. They're full of heart and soul and sometimes advice. Yes, my book, Chefwise, is a collaboration with 117 chefs around the world, including Jean-Georges, featuring invaluable advice on topics not typically taught in culinary school, both in and out of the kitchen. And Jean-Georges has done many beautiful books himself, I believe 5 in total, including Simple to Spectacular, JGV, A Life in 12 Recipes, and Jean-Georges, Cooking at Home with a 4-Star Chef. So let's all dive into books and realize their value, as books and knowledge are priceless. That's my tip today. Okay, so I'm super excited to share with you today my conversation with Jean-Georges Vongerichten, which we did at Platform by JBF at Pier 57 in New York City on Sunday, April 14th at 11 a.m., and our talk was entitled Life Lessons from Iconic Chef Jean-Georges Vongerichten with Chefwise author Shari Bayer. And it was a live interview, of course, with an audience who asked questions at the end, which are included in this broadcast, as well as my own questions. And it was a real treat to speak with Jean-Georges about topics in my Chefwise book and about his career, and he shares a lot of life lessons, and the audience was super engaged, and we were introduced by the James Beard Foundation's amazing CEO, Claire Reichenbach, And I'm going to leave this intro really short. And I just want to say thank you to the James Beard Foundation for having us and Claire for hosting our event. It was really special. And to John George for joining me and his entire team. It was really an honor to do this interview. So I hope you enjoy our conversation. I will come back at the end, wrap things up a little bit, and share my solo dining experience. So here you go, my one-on-one conversation with John George. Enjoy.
Good morning.
Wow.
That's going to wake folk up. A very warm welcome to you all. I'm Claire Reichenbach. I am the CEO at the James Beard Foundation. And we're delighted that you're joining us this morning. Beautiful spring morning, perfect day to be at Pier 57. But our talk this morning, life lessons from iconic chef Jean-Georges with Chefwise chef, my friend, Shari. I'm really delighted that we're having this session. Just quickly, platform by James Beard. This is our new space. We opened a year ago, which is quite hard to fathom, actually. But this really is our opportunity to bring our mission of good food for good to life. And we have visiting chefs and other luminaries from the culinary industry doing events almost every day of the week. So if you are not a patron member or you're new to us, please check us out on platform by JBF.org, I believe. And we have Andrew here from Postman Books over at Chelsea Market, who has signed copies, Shari, of your fabulous book. We do encourage you to pick up a copy today. So quick introductions, and then I'm going to hand over. So Shari Bayer is the host and producer of All in the Industry. It's a podcast about behind the scenes in hospitality. We did one back in, I remember it was February 2020, and I was waxing poetic about the 30th anniversary of the James Beard Awards. And then the world shut down. I think that podcast had a very short lifespan. But you have interviewed the great and the good. Founder of New York-based PR company, Via Public Relations, which celebrated its 20th year anniversary, which is phenomenal this year. And she's the author of Chefwise, Life Lessons from Leading Chefs Around the World, which you can get today, which really, you've spoken to really incredible chefs across the globe, hearing their inside of view of what it's like to be a chef, what it's like to run a restaurant, and it is all good. It's what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School for the hospitality industry. So I know there are folk here today who are on that course and on that path. So this will be very edifying. And of course, Jean-Georges barely needs an introduction. I know that's why so many of you here today. Global icon, one of the most important, lauded and successful chefs and restaurateurs in the world, truly. It's an honor to have you here today. 14 restaurants in New York City alone, the eponymous flagship Jean-Georges, 2 Michelin stars and more, and the glorious Tin Building, which is just an emporium of delight. And we are the lucky beneficiaries of those beautiful cookies from the Tin Building. But I'm assuming you're all denizens of New York. If you haven't been there, go. It really is a really beautiful curation of restaurants and retail and produce. It really is stunning. And then the most recent opening, 425 on Park Avenue, which I'm dying to get to. So we are very spoiled in this city, but there are also 65 restaurants worldwide that Jean-Georges presides over. He is the most lauded chef, and he's won, I think, every James Beard Award going, best restaurateur, best chef in America, the Who's Who of food and beverage, outstanding restaurant, best new restaurant several times over, and best cookbook. So we couldn't have someone who personifies our world more so than Jean-Georges. So I'm really excited for this conversation. I'm going to hand over to you, Shari, to get from here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. It is an honor to be here today. It's an honor to be here with you, Jean-Georges, and appreciate all of you coming on a Sunday morning. And thank you to the James Beard Foundation. Thank you to Platform by JBF, to Posman, to Fiden, to everyone from John George's team who have worked with me in putting this together. And thank you for coming, John George.
Thank you.
And for being a part of my book, which was a dream project for me to work on, and having you a part of it was a thrill, amazing, and such an honor. And you are in many chapters. We're going to get to that, but my first question for you is, how do you deal with the jet lag?
Oh my God, that's a good question.
Or do you get jet lag?
I want to say thank you, Claire, for having me today on the JBF Foundation, and also Shari. We became friends the last couple of years
Yes.
since your book is out. And thank you for all the quotes in the book and the kindness.
Thank you.
She's the new chef guru. So, it depends. If it's a long trip to Asia, a couple of onions. It depends. I think you have to adjust yourself. I'm a good sleeper. I mean, when you work 14, 15 hours a day, it's easy to fall asleep when you start. So I'm a good sleeper on a plane. Usually I have a big agenda when I arrive in Shanghai, in Tokyo, in Singapore, London, Paris. I have no choice. I just go, I land, hit the ground running, and just go.
Yeah.
So jet lag is I didn't even think about it ever.
No, I'm impressed with how it goes. People are always saying I go, but I look at people like you traveling even more than me. And if you all want to go back and listen to episode 346, I do my traditional interview with John George. We did it at the Tin Building, and we talked all about his background, which I usually start with. And I talked about on that show about going. I was in Doha, and I went to Market by JG at the W Hotel. So that was a treat. But so we're going to dive into new topics on the show today. But I had to ask about the jet lag because you travel a ton, and you just got back from London, and you were in Dublin right before that. So talk a little about that. You just did some openings.
Yeah, we just opened a few restaurants in Europe. One in Dublin about a month ago. In a hotel. Actually, it's a partner from London, the Irish Paddy McKillen, who was the head of the Connaught, the Claridge, and the Berkeley. And he has a wonderful place. If you've never been there, it's Chateau Lacoste in Aix-en-Provence. It's the most beautiful hotel, hospitality place with the most amazing art. All the art is outside. I think there's about 70 artists exposing. I mean, if you go there, it's absolutely amazing. So they opened, they've been partnered with Bono for a long time. In London, they own all the restaurant hotels there. It's actually, most of the restaurants on deal that we're making around the world are from relationship, people that we met. And I'm going to tell you a funny story. I went to the fair in Vegas back in October. I had no plan to go to Ireland. Through Paddy McKillen, Bono asked me to come backstage to say hello to the concert. The show was amazing. And I went behind to say hello to the band. It's only 4 people. It was great. And Bono said, we opened a new hotel in Dublin in March, and we want you to do the restaurant out there. Shake my hand and went to the next person. What just happened? The next day I got a phone call from his assistant and I said, what do we sign a contract? What's the deal? I said, was he serious? I said, we're opening in 3 months in the hotel. I said, okay, let's put it together. And we did. So that was a fast track restaurant. So most of the restaurants in New York that we have are owned and run by us. We pay rent, it's our staff, but as soon as we export, we go outside New York City, we have partners. They own kind of, I don't like to call it license, but they're more like a partnership so the hotel is taking care usually of the staff, and we involve in the design, lighting, food, what's on the menu, hiring the people, training on here. So that was the fastest opening, 4 months from the handshake.
Wow.
Impressive. And then London was the first time we're doing ABC. We're exporting ABC to Europe. So it's actually ABC, the trilogy.
Yeah.
ABC Kitchen, ABC Cucina, ABC V under one roof. And that hotel has been in works for 4 years. it's called the Emory, next to the Barclay Hotel. A beautiful construction, brand new construction. It was done by the architect Rogers. It was his last project before he passed away. On the bottom, we're doing an ABC kitchen, the trilogy. So we call it the ABC kitchens. And that's the last two months.
I love that. I need to get back to London now and to Dublin.
Yeah.
And you recently opened 45 too here in New York City. You forgot about that?
Yeah.
I had a wonderful meal there about a week or so ago. It was fantastic. So, talking about life lessons from chefs, is there something that stuck with you, like something you learned at the very beginning of your career that has carried through?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. I started my whole story started 51 years ago, so. I think it's many lifetimes.
Your 50th milestone last year.
Yeah. Last year, so 51 years this year in July, so I was good for nothing. We dropped off of school, and a bit of a revelation when I arrived. My parents took me to a 3-star Michelin. I never been to a restaurant before that, before I was 16. I was like, I didn't know you could do food from a living out of food. Like the ballet of the waiters, the food, the silverware, everything we touched was like, I said, my God, people can do a career out of this. That was 1973, and I had no idea, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. I think in Europe they put you in a track, it's like a train, and you stay on the same track for the rest of your life. When I arrived here, I discovered people are like, I did this, I did that, I have like 5 careers. I don't know, I just stick to what I liked, and I fell in love with the restaurant business at 16, not before. And put me, they were very smart, they started their apprentices in pastry, because pastry is an exact science. So I bought some cookies today. When you do pastry, you have to measure everything, otherwise it doesn't work. Cooking, you can always mess up with, do the wrong seasoning, the wrong cooking, the wrong combination, but pastry is an exact science. So they put all the apprentices in pastry for 6 months, and you learn to put everything on scale, measure everything. And that stuck to me for the rest of my life. Life is a recipe a little bit. Some people are more precise, some people are less, but I feel if you stick to a recipe that works for you, it works.
I love that. So with my book, there's 14 chapters, and you are I thought you were in 7, but you're not. You're actually in 8, because some of the chefs in the book mentioned you. I don't know if you know that. Actually, one, Wiley Dufresne, talked about, he says, John George, who was my biggest culinary inspiration, also used to say, simple, simple. He was always taking things off the plate. He said, it's easy to hide when you put a lot of stuff on the plate. Take things off the plate. You've got to take things off, less and less and less. And that's what you have to do, take things away. And that was in the cooking chapter. So you've inspired people on so many levels, and within the book there's much recognition for you. And with your advice, the chapters that you're in are sourcing, cooking, business, team, technology, fundamentals, and future. So I thought we could dive a little into and talk a little about sourcing, because I asked you, how do you work with local markets and small farmers and with the seasons? Why is it important to you? So you want to talk a little about that?
Sure, absolutely. That's the foundation, I think, of cooking and business. It's like really sourcing, finding the people who have the talent, like a Wiley Dufresne, or training somebody who has the will of, and the passion of doing this business. Because it's not easy to work when people have free time. Because when you're a chef or a restaurateur or you work in a business, you have to please when other people are relaxing. So it's sacrificing your evenings, sacrificing your weekends, sacrificing your holidays. So you always please and cook for people. So sourcing at the market is everywhere I land. I always see people if I go to a city I've never been before, I land, drop my suitcase, take a shower. The first thing I do, I go to the market. Any place you go, you see how people live, you see how people, where they eat, It changes everything, for me, that's the most important. Is when you do the business, you have to source the people, the talents. But first, I think start with when you do somewhere. This year we're celebrating 20 years in Shanghai. We've been in Shanghai for 20 years. On the route. So arriving there was no herbs. At the market, I only see coriander, I only see a few things like that. There was no rosemary, no thyme, no parsley, no chervil, no tarragon, nothing. So my next trip to Shanghai, 2 months after, I bring a suitcase of seeds. We give it to a couple of farmers. We go to Shanghai now. We have that was 22 years ago. Now we find everything. So some of the cooking you will do, they wanted me to do a French restaurant, so I needed to have my herbs, my plants, my vegetables so it's important. So you adapt, you go to the market, you see what they have, what is missing. Most of the market when you go to Europe, they're very similar to what you find at Union Square here in California, pretty much.
Yeah.
But then you go to some country where Brazil, you go to Singapore. Singapore is like the best of everything. There's the best cuisine everywhere. So sourcing is the most important. And that's why I always say the comment from Wiley, less is more. It's just what you have. I think when you're young, you try to put 30 ingredients on a plate. But if you get a beautiful knife scallop, clean it out, put it in a pan with some olive oil, salt, pepper, what do you need? Squeeze lemon, a little drizzle of olive oil, a little bit of so if you have the right ingredients, back in the days, I think we were masking a lot of ingredients with sauces and heavy things that, so you could smell the scallop. Today, I think with the distance, you get a live scallop every day, hand harvest. So it's about sourcing from the market, is about, that's where everything starts, If you have a beautiful, and people want that too, they want traceability, they want to know, okay, it's an organic carrots, well, where does it grow? How can you trace it? It's really no pesticide, or is it, it all depends on that. When I remember as a kid, picking up carrots in the garden, and herbs, and picking up peas, this season, or asparagus, etc. So for me, sourcing and the market, the local market, is the most important. That's the way you start. So I would never build a restaurant if I don't know what we're gonna cook. So you have to know. Arriving in Shanghai, I'm saying it was very, very hard to everything is alive in the fish market, but then in terms of vegetables, it's all mostly Asian vegetables, mostly but not many variety of vegetables. They mostly eat rice. So for cooking, we have to plant things. So we built 3 gardens around Shanghai to grow the stuff first. So I'm talking too much.
No, you're not. Talk all you want. No, it's amazing. When I was working on the book, I didn't go into it thinking sourcing was going to be a big chapter, but it ended up being one of the biggest ones. Chefs had a lot to say about sourcing, which I thought was cool. And another chapter you're in is team. You want to talk a little about that because you have over 60 restaurants now around the world, and a lot of the chefs and the people I've met here in New York have been with you for a long time. You have a lot of loyalty, I would say, with your restaurants. And so, to manage all this, and the team I know is important. So
it's all about the team. You're totally right. It's all about the team and the people you put together so you can keep everybody, but we have manager of, president of the company. She's with me, Lois Freeman. She's with me since 1986.
Yeah.
I have Dan Del Vecchio. He's with me for like 30 years. Craig, 32 years. We have my chef at the Mark Hotel is with me since 1984. We have probably 20 people with me over 30 years.
It's incredible.
On the way to grow and keep the team. My brother is working with me at JG, and right now he's helping my son set up opening a restaurant in Doha.
Oh, really?
Jeddah in Saudi. So it's following my footsteps, so very proud. So the team is very important. Finding each time you open a restaurant, who's going to be the team? Who's going to be, I have plenty of ideas, plenty of recipe, plenty of, but who's going to be held at kitchen? Who's going to, I mean, right now I'm 425, we were lucky to have Jonathan Beno. Chef Beno was the chef at Mercy for 8 years. He opened his own restaurant, so things didn't work out for him. And, I met him at the market, believe it or not, last August. And I said to him, I said,
Quick handshake.
it was a pinky. So I said, what are you doing? He says, I'm a consultant, I'm not too happy, I want to go back to cooking. I said, oh, that's something very special for you. I said, what is it? I said, let's meet next week. And he loved it. And, I think finding the talent as well, and sometimes you work with them again. And, you know, I mean, it's a little harder thing in New York because there's so much opportunity for talents or for young chefs. My team in Shanghai hasn't changed one cook in 20 years.
Wow.
So it's my team in Japan, we've been in Tokyo celebrating. So this year we're going to a trip in May in Asia, celebrating 10 years in Tokyo, 1 year in Kyoto, and 20 years in Shanghai. Somehow in that part of the world, the talents stay with you for a long time. They really build their career on. It's pretty amazing. A little harder in Europe, a little harder in New York because, you know, you have a talented chef like Wiley Dufresne or others, you know, there's just, it's only so long you can keep your kids, at one point, you know. I'm really proud of it. It's very important for everybody to grow. Not every chef wants to open his own restaurant. It's not you know, it's not easy to open a restaurant. It's not easy to be on the other side of running it. But, so right now we have 5,200 employees worldwide. So it's just about relaxing, not to letting people do what they do best. You know, I'm not in accounting, so I have an accounting to do that. I'm not, you know, a sommelier, so I'm a chef at heart. So I'm still doing my 5 hours of cooking every day. It's my therapy. On the weekend I cook for friends and family. He's the biggest eater of my friends who come sometime on the weekend.
It's not a bad cup.
Even though it's you know, some holidays we come over, I know I have a lot of food. I say, what are you doing today? Come over. You have a good appetite.
I'm working on it.
I'm working on my friend's
Sorry, I'm
family
talking about it. I mixed it up.
Well, you touched a little bit on, well, let's talk about business because that is an important part of running a restaurant. Sometimes people get into this, you know, the passion for cooking, and you need to balance that with the business side of things. And so can you talk a little about how you manage that with your team and with balancing creativity and business?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, a lot, you know, to open a business, it's when I opened my first one, I mean, I arrived in 86 in New York, and I was cooking at Lafayette in a great hotel for a chef called Louis Luthier. It's funny, we opened 425, which is across the street from that food stock. I'm back on 56 on Park now. But I think the first step to when you open a business, being a chef and a restaurateur is too fun of life. You know? So on the beginning when I decided to, after I started in 73, in 91 I decided to open my restaurant, my first one. So at the time, 91 was another easy year. I think it was the first year of the first Gulf War started. When I signed my lease the day the Gulf War started, that's how my God was going to happen. On the year in 91, 250 restaurants closed down in New York City. I said, oh my God. So I took a bankruptcy, which was called Bar du Théâtre. It was a bankruptcy, and I took it over, and there was a sign for rent with a number called the landlord. I said, what's the deal here? I said, I have somebody running the restaurant, it's called Bar du Théâtre. He has paid his rent for 10 months. If you give me $10,000 tomorrow, it's yours. It's okay. I don't have $10,000. Then I met my partner Phil Suarez, was really the one my mentor really teach me the business. He was a customer of Lafayette, and he gave me, after like 25 business cards, he showed me come in, he gave me a business card. Call me if you want to open your restaurant. Call me if you want to open your restaurant. After 20 cards, I said, I got your card. I will call you. So I called him one day, and I said, Phil, I'm ready, I found a place. I said, meet me for lunch tomorrow, give me a business plan. Business plan? I basically is a business plan.
It's a good one.
So that it was a little embarrassing, so I took a piece of paper. And half an hour before I meet him, I said, okay, we're gonna do 45 lunches at $35, and we're gonna do 55 to 60 dinner at $55. Yeah, sounds about right now for this time of year, on this time of this area, 65th and 64 on Lexington. When I came to the meeting and said, "You business plan?" I said, "Yes." Take it out. He holds on the paper. He said, "You must be kidding me. What is this?" I said, "It's my business plan." I said, "So yes, it's all right." I said, "10,000." He said, "Okay, what? I trust you. What do you need?" Takes his checkbook out. He brought me a check for $200,000.
Wow.
I took the check. I said, okay, like if I go back to Thailand, I can live there for 5 years. If I do this business, is either escape or do this. And that's it. I opened Jojo, actually opened Jojo for 150,000. You know, I was very cautious about the new chairs, new lighting, couple of equipment in the kitchen. We went to the place we had no contract, no lawyer. We had a nice fat check. It was very nice. And the rent was low, everything was great. I paid him back in 6 months. Wow. It was very fast. There was a line on the side. When I gave him the last check, 6 months after, he said to me, "You know what? When I brought that check to you, I don't think you're going to pay me back." So it was almost a gift, but you pay me back with interest. And I said, I knew, hey, I'm ready for the next one. Then we opened Vong. Give me a little more money. So I have no debts. So our company right now have no debts.
Wow.
We have 65 restaurants. I did it one by one, paid back one by one. But the most important thing when you open a restaurant is really to be in touch with your zip code. It was very important. I learned that in New York you open something on the West Side, something in West Village, the Chelsea area for ABC. So you really have to be in touch with your zip code. Because the day you have a storm, the day you have a flood, you're never going to support you. So you can just count on people traveling or people coming from one area to another. So I'm always been in touch with my zip code. That's my big one. Sorry.
Oh, impressive. So impressive.
I should have left.
Let's talk about the future.
Yeah.
Well, for one, what drives you to keep opening more and more places? I feel like it's just born in you. But also, that's part one of the question. Part two is what do you think the future holds with restaurants and with chefs and with cooking? You talk a little about it in the books.
Yeah. The future, after Jojo, they do the wrong, we never stopped. So basically, what I learned, really, for me, traveling is my inspiration. So next month, going to for 10 days in Asia, Japan, China. I bring new recipes for them. Bring all kind of probably 20 recipes for each restaurant. We work with them, we test. Easier in Asia because you show them 2 turns of pepper mill. They're never going to do 2.5. So you always do. So it's a little easier over there to teach a recipe on, translate it, of course, in the local language. But I come back with 100 ideas. Going to Tokyo, walking around at night, eating, going to the market, going to Kyoto. We went to this place last trip in Kyoto. It's called Monk. this a monk in the mountain who decided he's in love with pizza. He grows his own wheat, he grinds his own flour, takes the water every day from the mountain, makes his own pizza dough. He doesn't only cook pizza, but so you meet people like that who are such an inspiration, and you come back with some ideas. And so for me, traveling is I kind of stop. Each time I have too many ideas, each time I go to one of those places, Singapore or even London last week, you go out to market, you go to restaurants, you meet people, you meet chefs, journalists, customers, and you always learn something new. So the reason we grow like that is because I want to be everywhere, I want to learn everything, and that's always been I'm a very curious person. So the future is, I don't know, there's no limit. I mean, I'm turning down 2-3 deals a week. So we can choose, and most of the recipes that we do, are developed in New York, and then we export them. Like the last 40 recipes from 425, we're going to use them in Tokyo, Kyoto. Some of them, if it works, different ingredients because the species of fish are different there than you have here. So it's just, keep going. It's just, I don't know what the limit is. Working on, right now we have 11 projects on the pipeline the next 3-4 years. They only found, this one that I love working with, I feel like I'm a frustrated architect. When I was a kid, I wanted to be building, but I wasn't good enough for school, but now working with Richard Meyer, working with Norman Foster, working with those amazing architects around the world, because if you can see the world never stop growing. Buildings are going, hotels are going, so they need F&B, they need food and beverage operations. So there's a lot of work for, not just for me, for everyone. So either we have a passion for it or not. But for me, the traveling, the opening outside around the world is really the inspiration for our group. That's where we always see a little touch of Asia, a little touch of Europe, or Africa. I mean, just going to Morocco, we come back with it's like spinning of ideas on the flavors. So that's my passion is really to really discover new places, new dishes, new flavors, new combinations. Because in the end, it's the old organic chicken, but if you put a little licorice on it, it's a new chicken.
Amazing. With the future of restaurants, what do you think creatively the style of cooking might be? Or is that changing with sustainability or vegetables? I mean, you've always been very vegetable focused, but do you think, where do you think the restaurant industry is going to be in 10 years from now as a style of cooking? Fine dining, they always like to say, is dead, but I don't think it'll ever be dead. So, yeah, what do you see in the future?
I mean, it's difficult though. I don't have my crystal ball with me. But I don't know. The future is. I think it's very bright. I think there are better ingredients now than we ever had. I mean, when I arrived in New York in '86, there was 2 ingredients at the New York supermarket. There was some apples, potato. I mean, you go there on Wednesday now. We have 5 different colored carrots, beets, all organic. So we're growing things. So yes, probably vegetable forward. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody needs to eat except you. 200 ounce steak. 16 ounce steak, But I feel like we're eating more balanced now than ever. Grains, vegetables, and I don't say cut all the meat or anything else, but I feel like the future is definitely planned. But I remember when I grew up, that's the way it was. It was the time where you were living with your grandparents, parents, aunts. My house was always 16 people living in there. So it was like a mini restaurant. Think about it. And, I remember there was a small roast of pork and a big bucket of cabbage and potato. So the balance was always, 55-60% vegetable grains and potatoes and then protein. Then I arrived in New York, it was like a big steak with two streaming fighting. But I think we have a better balance now with the life. But the future, I think going back a little bit into regional food from all over the planet, because I feel like I go back to see my mom in Alsace, she's 91, and I feel all the terroir and all the local restaurants are going back to the source. On the future, yes, there's so many technology for cooking things now, but I don't think the robots are ready to replace her. That's it. No? I don't think so. Because it was one of the last pleasure we had in the world is eating. So I think it's going to stay for a little while. I'm not ready for the pills. For the pills for spinach, the pill for... You may get there, but no, my lifetime, I think.
Yes, and you are also in the tech chapter, and in the cooking chapter you talked about how your favorite kitchen tool is the Instant Pot and the microwave grater. No?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Still?
Yeah. Good to know.
It's something I grew up with, the Instant Pot. Put everything in there, you have more flavor, more extraction, the Instant Pot is so easy. You can walk away from it too.
Yeah.
Put everything in there on sea level. It tastes good, It's like we do a lot of sauces on the slow cooking goes very fast in an Instant Pot. I like my graders because for all the citrus, I like to add notes of acidity on citrus, so it's fairly long now. I feel like every cuisine has a piece of ginger in the kitchen, So it's interesting that the world's getting together on chilies as well. I think I don't have a sauce without a little bit of chili, even not necessarily being spicy, but just to it's a nice flavor,
Wonderful. I'm going to ask one more question. Anyone in the audience has a question too, happy to take questions. So think about them now. My big question I've been asking chefs, of course, over this last year, especially with my book, is what's your top advice for aspiring young cooks or anyone, thinking of getting into this industry? What would you say is the top advice you have?
Don't do it. No, I'm passionate about it, so it's I think you should really go out and work in different kitchen and learn it. I mean, at my time, at 73, there was pre-computer, pre-phone. So to learn food, you have to travel or buy books. Today, I think you want to know the tamarind, turmeric. You go online, you have 2,000 recipes, So I think, but you can learn a lot online, you can learn a lot by books like you. It's true, it's very important to read, to see that for me it was all books. I was not a good reader, so I traveled. For me, really, when I was 23, I went to Bangkok, Singapore, Hong Kong. I spent 5 years in Asia, really teach me a totally different way of cooking. For young, if you're passionate about food, but you could be a great home cook, you could be a great just cooking for friends and family. You can be a good cook, don't have to be a business. Me, I feel like it was an accident to go into the business, but now I work in a space and I know what to do to fix it. So maybe I keep that for my old age, to maybe be an architect. And people are calling me like, oh, I want those lights, I want this and that. So it's like, I think lighting is important, plating, silver way, whatever you touch is important. So maybe that's my next chapter. Design, restaurant maybe. Any advice? Anybody's doing something? So, once after 50 years, you know what you like, you know what you want, it's a comfortable chair, what's a good lighting to be sitting in. On the end, we're spending 2 hours in a place to eat, and everything has to work. Yeah.
No, you definitely have a good eye for things. I know you're involved in every aspect of everything you do. and it shows.
The problem is when you go back to the places, I can see the dust up there. Stay away.
Don't look too closely.
Yeah, well, no, your restaurants are beautiful.
Become a victim of your own creations.
I'm a fan. If I didn't say that already, big fan. Everything you do, all your restaurants, and I'm grateful. I've been to many of them, but as I said, I need to get back on a plane and check out more places because you keep going. So, do we have any questions from?
Oh no.
Right.
Okay, it's one of
You can do it without the mic.
How do you build and create a recipe? How do you conceptualize it and then create it?
It depends, when I'm working on all the springs, so I have a team of people just doing creation, like, Greg, Danny, Mark, Lapico. So we have a team of chef on, like tomorrow we're gonna work on peas, asparagus, all the vegetables, snappies. So we're gonna roast, grill, Instapot. We're gonna try all the techniques. We're gonna try to come up with a piece that tastes different. So we're developing every day. We're working something else. The day after could be sweet bread. The day after could be with non-stop. Have a creative team. We need recipe for here, for there. People the season. We know the season now. We know that every spring you have asparagus, white or green. So that we want to have a new flavor, new techniques. Wow, so never had real asparagus like this. etc. So, when you have that many restaurants like we have, the whole class, we need a development team. And I sit down, so I have the best job. I eat all day, test a little bit. That should be your job. You will try it.
Do you visualize it before you make it and say, know what taste you're looking for before you?
Absolutely, totally. I mean, everybody, after many years of cooking, you know what black sea bass or salmon tastes like. So you imagine eating salmon, a little fatty, what you want to do there, what acidity you need, citrus, vinegar, what vegetable goes well with it in the spring, etc. etc. Do we putting a pistachio crust? Do we doing no, maybe not a nut crust because people are allergic to nuts. So you have to think about, it goes to your head, and it's a dish as good with all the nut crust, the pistachio. I love mixing pistachio and asparagus. I think they go well together. Avocado and asparagus go well together, but you don't see it many often. But we do a salad with asparagus and avocado. There's two different green vegetables. One is creamy, one has a good texture. When you test it, but most of the vegetables, for example, just take asparagus. We cook vegetables, we never touch the fridge. Try it. It's a big difference. Because a lot of restaurants, they prep things, so they cook all the vegetables. They cook like a case of asparagus, blanched in water, ice bath, they put it in the fridge for half a day. Will never taste the same. I remember my mom cooking asparagus. She boils it, boiling water, put asparagus, 2 minutes, take it out, serve it right away, a little salt on top. People say, where do you get your asparagus? I say, same place as you get it. But you have to know, as soon as it touches the fridge, it's a totally different thing. So it's very difficult in a restaurant to have a busy restaurant, to cook things ahead of time. So my biggest battle every day is to find ways of cooking it at home. You cook it, you serve it. You never put it in the fridge. That's why the new techniques, the sous vide, all this, not a big fan. I'm a direct, you cook, you serve. Unless you braise somebody for something for a long time, etc. etc. Yes.
I mean, I have so many questions to ask.
Oh my
you. I think
Oh, no, go ahead.
to hear your feedback on, I've been very blessed to be dining at your restaurant since I moved here like 20 years
Yeah, so a couple of days ago, no?
So before when you dine, people were there to eat. I feel this generation, and please, if I'm offending anyone, I apologize, but no one eats anymore. They're there, they're taking the picture, they're not paying attention to the food. And I really miss that. I miss dining to actually dine. Like, I feel like people are checking it off their list to say, oh, it's a cool restaurant and trendy. You're very blessed. People follow you, so you're lucky to be that chef still. But I feel like people now go to the restaurant and they won't go back. That longevity, that hospitality that used to exist, I feel is like really lacking.
Yeah, we've been disliked. I think we've been disliked by our phones. Distracted. I'm surprised I haven't touched my phone for an hour. We are distracted by the phone, but because you want to know the news, you want to know what's happening somewhere. There's always something going on. And before you were waiting to go home at night to watch TV, the news, but now people want to know. So it's true. People, I see table of four, and they don't say a word for 10 minutes. They're all taking pictures. Maybe they're texting each other. What's your food? It's true, it's disappearing. You're right. The intimacy of dining with someone and eating or talking about food is disappearing a little bit. But then again, the social media helps us too. So taking pictures, post it. We need everything.
But does it bring the right customers, what I'm saying? Like,
I think it is.
okay.
It's part of the business today to bring people in. You have to talk about it, and you see sometimes there's a line outside. What's this place? I've never heard of it. Somebody posted, and there's a line for donuts, or whatever it is. So it's amazing. I think it's
cool to wait in line. We didn't wait in line.
But it's good for business, and also if you have that business, and somebody talks about it, or so I think it's that's right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
How do you think about sustainability and food waste in the future and going forward with restaurants and how much waste we produce?
I mean, it's so important to deal with that. I mean, we have a compost in every kitchen in New York. I mean, we started with 14 years ago at the ABC kitchen. So the food waste is it's my biggest fight every day in the kitchen. You go back to the asparagus. You peel the asparagus. So what are you gonna do with let's make sauce with the peelings. Let's blanch it, cook it, blend it. Let's try to use everything. I'm not gonna eat eggshells, but we have a compost for that. So I think I encourage everybody to have a compost in the kitchen. It's so important, I think, for the future. Sustainability has been in my blood when I grew up, because that's the way we had pigs in the backyard, and nothing was wasted. And the pigs are 100 miles away, so we have to do a compost when somebody picks it up. So it's a gesture they have to do, something. It's part of I think the restaurant business is not wasting food. Try to utilize everything. Great question for the future, for sure.
I have a question about the sort of kitchen dynamic, and I know kitchens and restaurants can be very fast-paced and kind of stressful feeling. And I was wondering if you have strategies to kind of manage that and keep the kitchen productive, as well as keeping workers and staff members are demanding different things after COVID and expecting different things.
Yeah, it's a little more to go after COVID, to find people who want to do the business. But I mean, it's a fast-paced operation. If you go as a customer, you don't want to wait half an hour for your main course. We have to make sure that everybody is happy, that we don't treat the staff badly to want the food now, etc. So it's about talking to the staff, organizing, ticket pacing. Don't make food too complicated either. To really, it takes half an hour to plate that dish, and we have to do 50 of them. You have a business in no time, so it's a balance of but it's really balance. I think people at the beginning when they start the business are not as fast. I mean, I almost closed my restaurant when I arrived in New York, Lafayette, because I arrived from France. I saw at the Ray Hotel. I arrived from France. I saw the people eating 3 hours for lunch. So we did a tasting menu at Lafayette, and after 2 weeks, I was not eating there. I went next door to the Italian place. 45 minutes, everybody was in and out for lunch. I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? So I realized fairly quickly after a couple of months that New Yorkers eat at home for an occasion. And they eat in a restaurant every day, lunch and dinner, breakfast, coffee. And in France, I came from at the time, in New York 86, people go to a restaurant on occasion, they eat at home every day. So I said, okay, man, I have to switch around, do home cooking in a restaurant. Fast, easy, you know. I took my mom's theory of lunch was at 12:30. If you show up at 12:35, there was not much left on the So I learned quick to turn the restaurant around because I realized that people on less rich food on a fast pace, especially for lunch. Thank God we saved it. Sorry.
No, any more questions? Yes.
You talked about having a different zip code for different areas. I'm kind of curious, like, what's an example of something you've done in a restaurant to kind of match the zip code, and how's that different from another zip code in New York?
I mean, for example, my first restaurant, Jojo, neighborhood place, you know, so I have to be gentle with the price. I want to attract 6 o'clock, 5:30, and late as well. You know, make sure there's something for everyone on the menu. You know, nobody was going to as usual for testing menu, you're different. You have to know, like, if you're in Midtown, for example, we should open 4:25. I know people have 50 minutes for lunch, so we have to create a lunch that fits those needs. People have to go back to the office. Then downtown is more relaxed. If you go to ABC Kitchen, people have a lot more time. They're coming for lunch to do business on but a longer pace. And, you know, you have to treat Monday different than Friday. People don't go back to the office, so you have to, I think price-wise, speed-wise, you know, selection of menus, for the zip code. I mean, ABC was all about the market of vegetables, so we don't even, we have a little hand track to get the vegetables every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, so, you know, a little harder to get the vegetable on time at JG, what's not apartment. So the zip code is important, I think, for the different needs of people. You know, different price-wise, the rents are different, the overheads are different, the size of the restaurant is different. You don't see a huge restaurant in West Village, it's small. On Midtown, 150, 120 seats. So you adjust your, you know, overheads, your. So I like the zip code idea because it really works. It works for me. Have you done, Mike?
Yes, hi.
Sure. Over your career, like, has there been any recipe or dish that's been really memorable for you?
I mean, many dishes I remember that smaller chefs that inspire me, and some of mine, some are still on the menu somewhere. You know, goat cheese and potato terrine and Jojo has been there since 91. Each time I try to take it away, but it's like I would see like 5 texts on 3 emails. So
That's it.
These people.
Yeah.
I think we all catch our habits. Sometimes I say to my chefs, it's easy to open a new restaurant than change the menu. Only have to change the menu, but I'm sure you go to some places for 3-4 dishes. The day they take it away, they're like, what happened? The place is going down. It's a new chef. So it's better to open a new restaurant many times than changing constantly the menu. Some places you go, as an occasion, you want everything to be new each time, but I feel if you create a neighborhood restaurant, you really have to create cravings that make people come back over and over. You know, I'm sure you go to a place for exactly the same thing. You want to see it. It has to be consistent. I think it's probably part of our company's success is to give people what they want and not change without changing too much. Yeah, we have a nougat, we have a chicken with parmesan crust, some tomato shows, some lemon butter. I'm so tired of it, I can even look at it anymore. Every time I take it away, it's like a we look sometimes for 2-3 weeks until we have like 20 emails. It's back. Bring it back.
Yes. Another question.
What do you cook for yourself when you're home, when you're not working?
We have to ask Jono. We cook. It depends, you know, we fish, meat, vegetables. Usually I don't plate anything at home. You know, we plate every day in a restaurant, so at home it's always like the way I grew up. Big pot in the middle of the table, big platters of whatever it is, vegetables, this and that, and everybody serves themselves. Some people say themselves more than others. It's a great film. Elizabeth is a great set designer. How many movies have you? So many. She's amazing. So I want to be her. I want to be a set designer too. Because when you do a restaurant, you're almost like a set designer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, something. So a quick tip of things. Whole raw chicken, stuff with herbs, potatoes, garlic.
Liquor.
Yeah, licorice at the restaurant, at home. More simple. But you know, we'll follow the season, follow the season with, especially with herbs, vegetables. I would say, if you look at the food groups, it's very limited, huh? You get the birds, organic or non-organic or natural. You have chicken, you have squab, duck, quail. Then you have the game birds, pheasant, partridge. You look at beef. Veal is a small beef, lamb, pork. Then you have the games, which is venison, all this. You look at even the fish, crustacean, crab, lobster, shrimp. Is octopus crustacean? No. Shellfish? Maybe. Yeah. But if you look at the assortment of the plants, vegetables, herbs, spices, thousands of combinations. So, there's much more to do with that collection than, any of the other protein food. So, we play with that all the time now. So, really, a new spice combination on a piece of value, whatever it is. And I think that's the role of a chef is really to bring something new to the table. It's the Gulf shrimp, but if you season it with that, it becomes super Gulf shrimp. Mixed with that, and that. So the whole thing of a chef is really to bring new sensation, new flavors, new texture. I talk too much, man.
No, you talk.
I never talk Sunday morning.
It's good. Guess you have your coffee. It's good. Okay, so yes, one more question.
What's the biggest restaurant mistake that you've made? Either like a location you thought would work well, or a dish you thought would work well, and what you learned from it?
Yeah. I mean, we have a few flops, of course. I mean, once the first one was I tried to create a Chinese restaurant down in Tribeca called 66. It was designed by Richard Meyer, beautiful, but it happened. We opened it 2 years after the 9/11. I thought the location was back and it didn't work out. We had an amazing chef from Hong Kong that I met when I was working in Hong Kong. A retired chef, was 87 years old. He came for 6 months. He was amazing. He was the best Chinese food ever. And, not only the zip code, but that was the problem. That was a zip code problem because we were like 2 blocks from Chinatown. My fresh crab meat, hand-picked fried rice was $14. You could have it for 2.5, 2 blocks away. So, didn't work. Didn't work. Then the second one in New York, most of the rest of the world, was not flop, but the second flop I did a steakhouse at the Time Warner. Because I had a successful steakhouse in Vegas at Bellagio called Prime. We did them for 26 years. I think the highest grossing steakhouse in Vegas. One of them, I think the highest. So I decided to do a steakhouse in New York. What was a mistake? It was a mistake not because of some of you up and down, but the overheads were way too much. I think we had $600,000 rent, $1 million for security, escalator, elevator. It was like, the restaurant was doing about $10 million in sales, but spending that 20% in between rent on common charges was impossible to survive. So after 2 years, we decided to shut down. So a couple flops, but they go bigger. Then I opened a second steakhouse in Vegas. Zero revenge. Anyway, but the one in Time Warner was not, it was built for us to give you ski in hand. So wasn't a loss in terms of dollars. So not everything works, but out of 65,
Pretty good hit rate.
I think we're just about out of time, so thank you all so much for coming. Thank you, John George.
You know everything about me now.
No,
You're supposed to talk about your book, no?
We did. We did. I mean, the copy's right here. There's 117 chefs in the book. John George is
The one who talked the most?
John George who talked the most, who might be in the most chapters, I don't know, but he has lots of advice in the book that we touched upon. You get more of his advice there, and there's other chefs in the book that noted you and the influence you had on them. And just back to the asparagus conversation, if you go right now to 425, I had a delicious white asparagus with morels in your menu. It's fantastic. So, knowing that you cook seasonally, it might be gone soon, but check that out. Thank you so much. I'm honored. And thank you again to the James Beard Foundation and Platform by JBF and Claire and everyone for having us here. It's a real honor and positive. I'm going to be signing copies of my book. Maybe John George wants to sign some too.
Yes.
So thank you all for coming and have a wonderful day. It's beautiful outside.
Get some lunch in the market hall and go up to the roof and enjoy the sunshine.
It's beautiful, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This episode is supported by HRN business member Itani Ramen, Chef Kyle Itani's expression of Japanese dining culture located in Oakland, California. At Itani, Kyle explores Japan's rich culture, focusing on traditional flavor profiles and offering an izakaya experience made up of a diversity of small bites, donburi bowls, cocktails, and plenty of ramen. Itani's sister restaurant located next door, Yonsei Hand Rolls, serves open-faced Japanese sushi hand rolls made of crisp nori, seasoned sushi rice, and top-notch fish. Itani Ramen and Yonsei Hand Rolls support HRN's creative, educational reporting and storytelling that drives conversation to make the world a better, fairer, more delicious place.
Welcome back to All in the Industry on Heritage Radio Network. I'm your host and producer, Shari Bayer, and I hope you enjoyed my conversation with iconic chef Jean George on life lessons as related to my new book, Chefwise, which Jean George is a contributor to. It was a true honor to be in front of a live audience with him and get to talk about his career and hear his amazing stories. He had such good stories, and it was just a real treat. Many thanks to John George for joining me, to his team, to everyone at the James Beard Foundation, including Claire Reichenbach, who introduced us and hosted the event, and Carrie Tannenbaum, the Director of Public Programming and Events for James Beard, as well as Sarah Kamen and Jeremiah, and also to Fiden, my publisher, and to Andrew from Posman Books for supplying books for our event, which I signed and John George did as well. And thank you to everyone who joined us. We got to meet lots of people at the end and have good conversations. So it was a real special way to spend a Sunday morning, and I'm glad I could share the interview with you now. So it's time for my solo dining experience. So this week it's at 425. Yes, I couldn't resist. So here's the rundown. The location, 425 Park Avenue at 56th Street in New York City. The concept, new seasonally driven restaurant in the heart of Midtown Manhattan, blending culinary excellence with architectural marvel and sustainable practices. The chef, John George Vongerichten, and with chef Jonathan Benno. Why'd I go? Well, how could I not? I love JG's restaurants, and this was his newest in New York City, and so I was excited to check it out. So my experience. I made a reservation for one on a Monday evening, an early reservation, and after I did give John George's team a heads up that it was coming in, and I found out he was going to be out of town, as we talked about in our conversation at Platform by JBF, that he was traveling a lot. between Ireland and London. So I missed him there, but I did get to see Jonathan Beno and also Gregory Brainan, who leads John George's culinary development. And that was great. I got to sneak into the kitchen, which is beautiful. It's an open kitchen. It's behind glass and it's just pristine. And I was led to a table towards the back area of the dining room on the banquette. I sat facing out, and so I had this wonderful view of the room, which is just gorgeous. And I had exceptional service and really enjoyed my meal. So it was a really nice Monday evening, and the room felt very New York in the best possible way. I loved it. Loved the energy. So what did I get? Well, I had the sliced campachi, which had ají amarillo, lime, cilantro, and crushed corn nuts. I also had the grilled white asparagus with morel mushrooms, watercress, Persian lime, coconut oil sabayon. I had the pan-roasted sea trout as my main course, and that came with pumpkin seed gremolata, butternut squash confit, tamarind, brown butter, grainy mustard sauce. And for dessert, I had the caramel custard, which had banana chantilly, brown butter, caramel creme fraiche ice cream, and I had a coffee. My take, it was a wonderfully delicious meal from start to finish. It was just the type of food I like to eat. It was light, delicious, full of flavor, very seasonal, and everything went really well together. So I love the campachi. It was super fresh. The morels with the asparagus is just a winning combo. It's a little bit rich, but so decadently delicious. I love the sea trout with the squash. Again, a wonderful combo. And that was a very good portion size too. It was good value, I would say. And I always like to say don't skip dessert. And I would say that for sure for this dessert. The caramel custard, it's not only beautiful, but every bite you just kind of want to ooh and ah. It's that good. So it was a wonderful meal. The ambiance. So from John George's website, it says, a remarkable design by the esteemed Lord Norman Foster, a recipient of the prestigious Pritzker Prize. The captivating cocktail lounge and bar downstairs feature 45-foot high ceilings, complemented by a 24-foot painting created by artist Larry Poons. Enhancing its appeal, the restaurant's mezzanine level features an intimate dining room suspended above Park Avenue, showcasing a stunning open kitchen. So yes, you enter on the ground level. There is a beautiful bar and lounge area, and then you go up the stairs to the main dining room with the showcase kitchen and the high ceilings, and it's a really beautiful space. I don't think there's a bad seat in the house. I'd say it's perfect for dinner with friends, maybe a date night, maybe a business lunch. They're now open for lunch, or of course going solo. Interesting tidbit, Jonathan Beno, for those not familiar, was previously the chef de cuisine at Thomas Keller's Per Se and the executive chef at Lincoln Ristorante before having his own place, Beno, at the Evelyn Hotel in the Nomad area, which also had two other concepts that he was overseeing called Leonelli Bakery and Bar Beno. And this is the first time that John George has collaborated with Jonathan Beno. They're both exceptional chefs. Personal fun fact, that evening I also ran into some industry friends, including William Lee and Becca Parrish. It was nice to see them. They were dining together. So the cost of my meal, I was comped as a guest of John George, which I'm super grateful for. So thank you so much. It was quite a treat to dine at your restaurant. I did leave gratuity, and my meal would have cost over $100. So thank you so much. And would I go back? Yes, of course, I would go back any day. And their website is 425restaurant.com, and Instagram is at 425 restaurant, and those are the numbers 425 in both of those, not spelled out. So that's the show. Thank you again so much to John George for joining me at Platform by JBF for our one-on-one conversation on life lessons with my Chefwise book, Life Lessons from Leading Chefs Around the World by Phaidon. I'm very grateful to John George and his team and the James Beard Foundation, and to Phaidon and to Posman Books and to everyone who joined us. So thank you so much. I did sign extra copies of my book at the event. So if anyone's in New York, you can go buy Posman Books at Chelsea Market, and they may still have some copies. So thank you for doing that. And my book's available wherever books are sold. And to note, this show does not have a speed round. I am aware of that. But I did do a speed round with John George on my episode 346, which is in the archives. It's from January 2023. If you want to go back and listen to that and hear John George's responses, I remember it being fun. It's always fun. So thank you again to John George. His website is john-george.com. That's JEAN-GEORGES.com. And you can follow him on social media at Chef JGV. And you can follow the James Beard Foundation at Beard Foundation and at Platform by JBF. And you can follow me at Shari Bayer at Bayer PR and at All Industry. My Facebook page is All in the Industry, and my websites are BayerPublicRelations.com, ShariBayer.com, and AllInTheIndustry.com. All of our shows are archived at HeritageRadioNetwork.org. We are also on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Thanks to my engineer today, Armin, and everyone involved in making our Platform by JBF event a great success. I am your host and producer, Shari Bayer. I will be back soon with a new show. I hope you'll tune in then. And thank you, as always, for being part of All in the Industry. Bye. All in the Industry is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.
Craft cocktails, from the classics to zero-proof drinks, are all around us. But what if we told you that craft cocktails are actually a relatively recent addition to the culinary scene? My name is Toni Tipton-Martin, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Cook's Country at America's Test Kitchen. I want to introduce you to a podcast mini-series I'm hosting called 100 Proof, The Journey of the American Cocktail. Over 6 episodes, we'll look at how mixed drinks offer us a window into what was happening in America during the dawn of the cocktail. We'll then take you to the present day to contemplate what forces led to our modern cocktail renaissance. And along the way, we'll of course be sharing cocktail recipes with you. Subscribe to Proof from America's Test Kitchen so you won't miss the first episode. It drops on Thursday, May 23rd. Again, that's Proof, Proof, from America's Test Kitchen. Cheers.